Tupac expert back in the building, man. Alright, I'm gonna do a Tupac video, man. I'm gonna do a Tupac video. I'm gonna see what it do. I'm gonna see what it do now. Alright, I'm gonna see what it do. I was thinking about this, right? So this gonna be, I think I did a video on this before, but I'm gonna do a part 2. If Tupac never died, video 2. We gonna kick it all like that, cause that's a fun topic, right? Yeah. Tupac never died, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. Tupac loved the women, right? The women loved Tupac. Tupac would have got the baddest girl in the game. He would have got with Beyonce. I'm telling you, it would have been somehow, some way. He would have found his way to Beyonce. Beyonce had just come out, looking real good. Destiny Child, you know, just come out. Tupac would have been on that, man. I really believe he would have been on that. So I ain't gonna say he would have been on it when she first come out, but eventually they would have met up somewhere. She would have caught Tupac's eye for sure. So you know what I'm saying? So he would have been on it. So this whole thing with Jay-Z and Beyonce, that would have never happened. All this Beyonce and Jay-Z getting married, Jay-Z and Beyonce wouldn't have never got married if Tupac was alive. That wouldn't have never happened, cause Pac would have been on that. Plus he ain't like Jay-Z either, so that marriage would have never happened. Can y'all imagine if Pac being alive and Jay-Z and Beyonce getting married? Can y'all really see that happening? I can't see that happening, man. I can't see that happening. The dynamic with Suge and Pac, that is a complicated dynamic, man, cause you know, Suge and Pac would have fell out, man, for real. It would have got probably real serious. It probably would have been a split. Pac would have probably had left Death Row because of the money situation. You know, he was already upset. And Suge don't look like he the type to back down, to bend, and then like to compromise. So Pac would have probably left and ended up suing Death Row to get his money and his masters. You know, but I hope that they could have compromised and worked it out, because Death Row was a strong force back then, and it wasn't no force bigger than it was only two forces, East Coast and West Coast. South wasn't even in the game. The South wasn't even in the game back then, man. I mean, they wasn't even accountable. I mean, they had Outkast and shit. We had Outkast and shit like that, but motherfuckers that was running it was the East Coast and West Coast, was dominating the charts, you know. So Pac shook the West. Death Row was the strongest force on the West at that time, you know. So if they couldn't work it out, Pac would have been out there, man. Like, he would have been out there stranded. He would have been somebody would have had to pick him up, or he would have had to create his own label. I probably went back to the label he was on before with Jimmy Iovine or something, and work something out, man. But you know, I don't know. But let's just say Suge and they worked it out, man. Let's say Suge and Pac worked it out, and he stayed on Death Row because he needed that strong force. He needed that backing behind him. Well, it don't really matter if he stayed or not, man. You know, but in my honest opinion, I really think he would have left. He would have been trying to sue. Well, I'm gonna say this. It would have been a big falling out between him and Suge if he stayed alive. Now, whether they fix it or not, that's up in the air. You know what I'm saying? But it would have been a falling out eventually, for sure. Now, Pac being alive, Pac never dying means also Big would have never died. So if Big would have never died, Jay-Z would have came out now. Jay-Z would have came out, but he wouldn't have been as big as he is today. He wouldn't have blown up like he did if Big stayed alive, if Big was alive. He wouldn't have blown up that big. Cause Jay-Z was running New York when Big died. Jay-Z was the nigga. Big would have been alive. Big would have still been a nigga for a couple more years, you know. So Jay-Z, Lil Wayne wouldn't have happened during that time. You know, he would have had a run. He would have had a little success, but it wouldn't have been as big as it was when Big died, though. That's all I'm saying. DMX wouldn't have never came. He wouldn't have never had blew up if Pac was alive. DMX wouldn't have never blew up if Pac and Big was alive. DMX he would have came out, but he wouldn't have blown up like he did. I don't think he would have blown up like he did, you know. Ja Rule definitely wouldn't have blown up. He probably would have. Ja Rule probably would have been an underground rapper. The thing about DMX I can say about him that he was unique though. He had the look. He had that Tupac look, but his music was unique. So it would have been good. I just don't think it would have really took off like that. Mace would have still same thing with Mace. He would have came out. He wouldn't have blown up though. Cause that Mace album was mediocre. That first album Mace came out with, he had a couple hit singles on there that they did videos on, but you know that blew him up. So he would have blew up a little bit. I think Mace would have blew up because them videos really. I don't think Diddy would have put so much attention on Mace though. So the video probably would have been. It probably wouldn't have came out. You know, it probably would have been put on the back burner. Mace probably would have been put on the back burner if Biggie was alive. So it's kind of hard to say if Mace would have really blown up like he did. He would have been put on the back burner. They probably would have came out with one video with Mace. 50 Cent would have. 50 Cent would have never came out if Pac and Big was alive. 50 Cent whole premise, everybody kept talking about. I remember when 50 first came out, everybody was talking about how he got shot 5 times. So if Pac was alive, Big was alive, you know, they were using that Pac thing to promote 50. So I really don't think 50 would have came out. I really don't think Eminem would have. Well, before 50, you got to go to Eminem. You know, if Pac had that strong backing, I don't think Eminem would have blown up. He probably would have came out, but I don't think he would have been taken seriously if Pac and Big was alive. I think Pac would have just attacked him. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Because Eminem was on some corny shit when he came out. Hi, my name is Slim Shady. You know, maybe it would have blew up a little bit. Cause that shit was corny as fuck, bro. I mean, I don't know. If he would have blew up, he would have had white fans blowing him up, you know, like they already did. But I don't think his run. I think Tupac would have shut that shit down. Tupac would have said something, you know, would have made a comment about him, and just then they would have been beefing. So Eminem would have been focusing on beefing with Pac, making songs dissing Pac dissing him. So I think that gets into the way. When y'all beefing like that, that gets into the way, you know, of your success as an artist, just really blowing up and focus. So yeah, a lot of these artists would definitely have been affected. Their status would have definitely been affected if Pac and Big was alive. A lot of things would have been different, man. One of my favorite songs. Back in elementary, I thrived on misery. Left me alone, I grew up amongst the dying breed. Inside my mind, couldn't find a place to rest until I got that thug life tatted on my chest. Tell me, can you feel me? Man, come on, man. Come on, man.